Hey everyone, welcome back to Red 5 Reviews. Today's episode is a review for Book 1 of the Thrawn Trilogy, Star Wars Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. The book was originally published in 1991 by Bantam Spectra and was later reprinted by Del Rey. After it was first published, it had a very successful release, and for months it was a New York Times best-selling novel. It was also famous for being the first story to feature our heroes Han, Luke, and Leia post-Return of the Jedi, and it was also famous for introducing us to the new villain, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Let's review. Heir to the Empire is set 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker is beginning to train his sister, Leia Organa Solo, who is currently pregnant with twins, in the ways of the Jedi. Meanwhile, the Empire is now under the direction of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thrawn allies himself with an elderly Jedi master named Joruus C'baoth, later revealed to be a clone, and offers, for his help, to bring him Luke, Leia, and her unborn twins to train as Jedi. Later in the novel, as Han, Luke, and Leia are being pursued, Luke is eventually captured and held prisoner by Talon Karrde and his associate, Mara Jade, who has a hatred for Skywalker, and to make matters worse, Luke is in a position where he is unable to use the Force because of the presence of an alien species known as the Ysalamiri, which are capable of blocking him from it. I thought Heir to the Empire was a pretty great story. The book features a wide variety of scenarios, and Zahn, in my opinion, did a great job with the pacing. I thought the author captured all the characters beautifully as well, and I was very impressed with his portrayal of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Before reading this novel, my only experience with Thrawn was his canon counterpart from the Star Wars Rebels TV show. I had nothing against Thrawn in the show, but I was mostly neutral about him as a character. His portrayal in this novel, however, is excellent. As a reader, I feel like I got a much greater understanding of the character. I could see how brilliant he was, as well as how cunning and ruthless. The tension in this novel had me highly invested as our heroes found themselves with some pretty high stakes. There is a part where Luke is being held prisoner by Mara Jade with no force or lightsaber to defend himself, and it was interesting to read how he was going to get out of it with the odds so stacked against him. Now, my issues with this novel were few, but I feel like they are worth mentioning. For example, on more than one occasion, the book makes some kind of reference or callback to the original trilogy, whether it be a certain scene or an inside joke between the characters. Though some of these I found to be relevant, there were some moments that I felt were unnecessary and a little out of place. With this story being published a few years after Episode 6, I can understand why they would want to reference the original trilogy, but I felt like the storyline was strong enough where it really didn't need all these callbacks. My other issue is a bit of a nitpicky one, but there's this moment where one of the characters makes a reference to this special drink called hot chocolate. Honestly, I rolled my eyes at that. Again, this wasn't a big deal, but it was just so out of place, and it definitely took me out of the story for a brief moment. Aside from my few critiques, I really enjoyed Heir to the Empire, and I definitely recommend you read it if you haven't already. For my rating, I'm going to give Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm going to be reviewing parts 2 and 3 of the Thrawn Trilogy as well, so be sure to follow along with me if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the trilogy as a whole before starting to read it. Thank you all so much. I hope that you enjoyed this review, and if you did or if you found it helpful, please like this video, and please comment your thoughts down below if you've read this novel already, whether you liked it or disliked it. Either way, I'd be very interested to read what you guys thought. And if you'd like to stay updated for more Star Wars reviews and discussions, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you all again so much, and until the next video, this is Red 5, standing by.